Benefits of spaying and neutering your pets. Shannon Albert. In the past, in the 1960s, about one quarter of the dog population was unowned and roaming the streets. This was largely due to the fact that this quarter of the dog population was not spayed or neutered and kept reproducing, which led to a huge overpopulation of animals in the 1970s. About 13.5 million animals were euthanized in the United States alone. Today, that number is slowly decreasing, but it is still astronomically high. 6.5 million animals enter the shelter system on a yearly basis. Of those 6.5 million animals, 1.5 million are euthanized due to overpopulation and overcrowding in animal shelters. That's just over 4,000 animals a day that are put to sleep. The rest of the animals that enter into the shelter system are adopted or end up being claimed by the original owner, which is usually the best outcome. Problematic aggressive behavior, the fact that the animal grew larger than expected, or health problems that cropped up over the years are some of the top reasons why pets are abandoned at animal shelters. Although there has been a major reduction in the number of animals euthanized, this number is still very high. Pet overpopulation is a huge issue, especially in the southern states. This is due mostly because southern states is usually a lower income and less money going to governments and less money funneling down to some of the entities that need it. Pet overpopulation is also big in southern states because the climate is generally warmer year round, so pet owners tend to leave their dogs outside for more time and they end up getting away and they're not spayed or neutered and end up reproducing. Spaying and neutering your pets can directly influence this number. Some of the benefits of spaying and neutering are reduced risks of certain cancers, including testicular, ovarian, uterine, and cervical. The risk is reduced because they actually, during both the spay and neuter surgery, take out all of the reproductive organs for the cat or dog. It also reduces the risk of non-cancer diseases, including mammary cyst and pyometra. Pyometra is a disease that is inflammation of the uterine lining in female dogs. If they get this, it ends up being life-threatening and they need immediate surgery. It usually occurs in older, unspayed females. Another non-cancerous disease that affects older non-spayed females is spay incontinence. So dogs that are unspayed sometimes can develop incontinence issues as they age. Reduce incidence of aggressive behavior in both males and females. This is largely due to the fact that males, after the neuter surgery, have less testosterone, so they tend to be less aggressive and assertive in their male behavior. And females, if unspayed, go into heat about twice a year, usually every 6 months, and during this time, they can become aggressive and protective. And of course, one of the biggest benefits is population control. So how does spaying and neutering help with overpopulation? Spaying and neutering your pets will give shelters a chance to not have to euthanize for space for all the incoming dogs. If they don't have to euthanize for space, shelters can take the time to adopt out the current animals that they have and put more time into that. Also, shelters will have more resources to develop community programs such as low-cost spay and neuter clinics, which is a huge community booster for getting dogs spayed and neutered. Also, if shelters do not have to euthanize for space, they have more time to work with the community and see that adopting dogs is a great way to go. So why do people choose not to spay and neuter? One of the biggest reasons is cost. If you go to your local veterinarian, a spay or neuter surgery can run anywhere from $200 to $400 depending on where you live. In southern states, it tends to be a little bit cheaper overall, but in the northern states, For a spay surgery, which tends to be more intense for the females, it can run upwards of $400 to $500 if you want everything to go along with it, including pain meds and stuff afterwards. So, by choosing to spay and neuter your dogs and having more community resources for shelters to develop low-cost spay and neuter clinics, this balances that out. Low-cost spay and neuter clinics will run people about $50 to $100, depending if it's a cat or a dog or a male or a female. Another reason why they choose not to spay and neuter is they don't want to take away their dog's manhood. This is a particular issue for male dogs and their owners, and there's really no justification to it. A it's just something that they don't want to do, but by neutering the dog, they tend to have less behavior problems. And of course, every surgery has a risk. Just like people, if you go into surgery, you have to sign a waiver because anything could happen. And that's the same with our pets. They could have an allergic reaction to anesthesia or something like that. So every surgery has a risk. And some people don't want to put their animals through that or just think it's unnecessary to put their animals through that. But the benefits really outweigh the negatives here. So overall, why you should spay and neuter your pets is to help control the population. Since the 1970s, it has slowly been decreasing, but it's still an issue, especially in the southern states.